Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I thought today it would be fun to do another tag video. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I just really enjoy doing them. It's fun to answer some questions that kind of all revolve around a theme. So this tag is the beauty brand tag. It was originally created by Tara Brooke, so I will link her channel in the box. And I actually came across it from seeing LS do this tag a couple of days ago. If you don't know who LS is, I mean, she's got a much bigger following than me, so you probably do, but I love her. I think she's so relatable. She's kind of doing a no buy or a low buy, but she has been kind of doing that for a long time now, a couple of years, so it's kind of like not really a project for her anymore. It's just kind of like her new normal, I think she said before. So I really like watching her content because as somebody who is also kind of on a no buy or like trying to keep my makeup collection like realistic, it's nice to actually watch somebody who is in the same boat and not just watch people that get a ton of stuff in PR or like just have seemingly endless funds for makeup. I mean, I do watch some of those people as well, but it's nice to come back to somebody like Elle who keeps you kind of grounded and thinking like, okay, what's realistic for me? So yeah, if you haven't checked out her channel, I will link that below as well. You should really check her out. She's really awesome. Okay, so let's just get into the questions. So this whole tag is kind of about like the brands you used in the past and then the brands you use now, and it's all kind of like relating to that. So question number one is, think back to when you first started your makeup collection. Are there any brands you used then that you still use today? It's funny, they say like, are there any brands that you still use today? Girl, there's like products that I still have from when I first started my makeup collection that I still use today, which I guess is to some people like crazy and gross because like it's expired, I guess technically, but I don't really feel like powder products really truly expire. It doesn't harm me to use them. If it starts to, then obviously I will stop using them. But yeah, so I guess to name the brands that I used at the beginning of my makeup life to now, I definitely used CoverGirl like from the beginning as like my main staple mascara, and I've actually switched back to it recently. I used CoverGirl's like little eyeshadow, drugstore eyeshadow palettes back in the day, and I started using Too Faced when my mom first bought me my first ever Too Faced palette, which was like the one I still have today, and I'm still working on it, trying to get rid of it at this point because it's pretty old. But I didn't really start getting into makeup at a super young age. Like, I think I was about 15 when I started like really getting into makeup. In middle school, like when I was 10, 11, 12 kind of age range, I was not like girly at all. Like I was kind of like a tomboy. Like I didn't wear tight clothes. Like I remember my favorite pair of pants to wear was like this like baggy pair of like sweatpants, and like I didn't do my hair. I just left it and put it in a ponytail every single day, and I didn't wear like a bra, and I didn't wear makeup. I didn't really have a need to wear a bra at that age, because I've always been kind of small chested, and back then I was particularly thin, and I was, you know, sort of pre-puberty, so I didn't really need to wear a bra. But yeah, so I was kind of like a tomboy, definitely, throughout middle school years. And then it was actually around the end of middle school that I had a friend, and she was like one of my best friends, and she was super girly. So we were like kind of total opposites in that sense. But she kind of got me into makeup at first because she wore makeup every single day. She wore tight pink shirts with like push-up bras and like the whole thing. She straightened her hair every single day. She had highlights and like the whole thing. And I was just like not into any of that. and she was the one who like first told me like, oh, you should start wearing makeup, you should start wearing bras, you should start doing this. She kind of like eased me into that whole thing. And then it wasn't until high school that I really like got more into it, I guess. So yeah, I basically told that whole story just as a tangent, but like kind of to explain that I haven't really. It's to segue into question 2. So question 2 is, which brands have you moved on from? And that whole story was kind of to say I haven't really been super into makeup for like a super long period of time. It's been about like 15 years or so. So I haven't really truly moved on from any brands. Like I still am open-minded to all the brands I used to like when I was younger and more. Obviously, as an adult now, I have a little bit more of a little bit more money that I can invest into like more quality makeup than I ever did when I was like 15. But I do still go back to staples that are like CoverGirl or Revlon or like drugstore brands. Like I'm not like over it or anything by any means, because I do feel like to buy high-end makeup for every category in your makeup collection is just insane. Like if you've got the money, I guess, and you're into that, I guess that's fine for you. But like for an average person, like if I were to buy like high-end foundation, concealer, lipstick, eyeshadow, mascara, eyeliner, like all of those things high-end, just to have like the basics, like one of each item, would be an insane amount of money. So I do try and find good drugstore dupes, I guess, for things that I'm less excited about, like foundations and concealers and like just things that are necessary but not necessarily fun. So I try and stick with drugstore for that end, and then use my like hard-earned money to buy things that are more exciting for me. So eyeshadow palettes, maybe some lipsticks, things like that. Yeah, so question number 3 is, are there any brands you thought were so expensive? Wow, I didn't even, that seemed almost like a segue in itself, but it wasn't meant to be. Are there any brands you thought were so expensive that you'd never buy anything from them, but now consider at least one of the products to be a holy grail? If so, which brand and which product? Okay, so my views on this have changed actually. So obviously at the beginning I didn't buy high-end and I was fine with that, and I thought it was crazy to spend a lot of money on high-end makeup. Then I went through like a period of time where I was like, oh, everything high-end is better. And so I did sort of get some holy grails that were high-end. For example, Makeup Forever. I still have one, but I'm using it up at this point. Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Foundation. This, I was told by somebody, I think it might have been my sister or somebody else who was pretty experienced with makeup, told me this is the only foundation that like really truly looks natural on camera and like looks natural in photographs and things like that. And I don't know, I believed it, I guess. So I started using this. It's quite expensive. I think Canadian dollars, it's like around 50 bucks or something like that, like after tax and stuff. So for a foundation, that's like pretty pricey in my opinion. And so this was a holy grail for a while. I repurchased this probably 3 or 4 times at least, which lasted me a really long time because I do mix my foundations. So it did last me like honestly a couple of years as a holy grail. I also thought that Too Faced, I got a Too Faced mascara, the Better Than Sex mascara, as like a sample size in another order or something, and I liked it a lot. So I thought, oh, this expensive mascara is like way better than drugstore. This is a new holy grail, because like it was in that period of time where I was like, oh, everything expensive must be better. And then I started to move out of that. So I'm kind of in a phase now where, again, I feel like mascaras, foundations, things like that, I prefer to go drugstore again with that. So to answer the question, yes, I guess there were, I guess Makeup Forever is like the answer to that question, as is the brand I thought was too expensive that I would never buy anything from, but then I considered it a holy grail. But now I don't anymore. So it's kind of like a yes-no answer. What is a popular brand that you've never tried and don't think you ever will, and why? Coffee break, sorry. This one's hard because there's a lot of popular brands that I feel like I might never try, and it's not necessarily because I don't want to try them, but again, because of money. Like, it's just a lot of money. I think maybe one I can say pretty safely that I will probably never try is Natasha Denona, unless I get it like for free or something. But like, I just, I've heard a lot of good things, obviously. Like, the consensus around the internet is kind of that Natasha Denona is like worth the money and it's like such good quality and stuff. But there are like some other people on the internet, some other YouTubers that have said, you know what, like it's good and everything, but like for the price tag, like not worth it, you know? So I think that's one that like unless I got it for free, I would never pay $129 or whatever it is for a Natasha Denona palette, especially because that's in, I believe, in American dollars. So like in Canada, that would be like $150 plus tax. Like that's going to be upwards of like almost $200 on one eyeshadow palette. I just can't. Like that is nauseating to me. Like that's no, 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 no. So, so yeah, that's that answer. Number 5 is what brand perfectly encapsulates your current makeup aesthetic? Ooh, that's an interesting one. I'm like looking at my collection, trying to think what it would be. I kind of feel like such a basic bitch for saying this, but like Too Faced and Tarte, which are like two obviously super basic bitch brands. But I do really love their aesthetic. I like the cutesy packaging. I like the quality of the makeup. Like I know it's a lot of neutrals and stuff, but I do prefer to wear neutrals. I do have a few colorful palettes and stuff that I switch it up and use every once in a while. But like when it comes down to it, like those are the brands I really enjoy and I feel like they suit me. But that could change when I go and try new things and stuff. Like I've just been trying a lot of new brands recently and like indie brands and things like that. I just find that a lot of indie brands tend to be a lot, it's weird. It's like almost like this weird subculture of makeup in the indie brand community that's like all about gothic and like spooky and sort of like vampy themed. And that's just not really my personal aesthetic. So it's hard for me to find like an indie brand that really suits my aesthetic because I find they're doing it a kind of whole different realm of stuff. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go super basic and say like Tarte and Too Faced. I know, come at me, I guess, but that's the answer. Next is number 6. Are there any brands that you've wanted to try purely because are there any brands you haven't wanted to try purely because you don't like their packaging? Yeah, I would say Morphe. Now, to be fair, they do offer some smaller palettes, but like when I think of Morphe, I think of the big like 35 pan palettes or whatever they are, and I just hate big palettes. I've said this in many videos in the past. I just hate them. So every time I think of Morphe, that's what comes to my mind, and I'm just immediately not interested for that reason. Yeah. Number 7, is there a brand you've only tried because their packaging lured you in? If so, were you happy with the actual product? Let me look at my collection again and think about this one. Packaging, cute packaging. I mean, I love Too Faced packaging, but I do love the product, but I wouldn't say I bought anything purely for the packaging, like from Too Faced, because I knew that I liked the product as well. So, purely for the packaging. I don't think I've ever bought anything that was like honestly purely for the packaging. Like I would have to like, that's a lie. Okay, I just remembered. And I don't have it yet, it's in the mail. But those I Heart Revolution teddy bear palettes, I bought them. And they're on their way to me right now. I don't have them currently, but that was something I bought purely for the packaging. I never tried their eyeshadow formula before, but they are like a drugstore brand, so I don't have super high hopes. But yeah, that's the one thing that the packaging really got me. I thought they were so adorable. So yeah, that's the answer. Oh yeah, and the second part of the question was, are you happy with the actual product? I don't know yet because I haven't tried it yet, but we'll see. Number 8, some would say drugstore and mid-range prices are starting to overlap. What drugstore beauty brands are guilty of making this happen, and what are your thoughts on rising drugstore makeup prices? Yeah, I have noticed this. I just actually browsed around the drugstore for like an hour the other day while I was waiting for a prescription and didn't end up buying anything, but I did notice the prices were like a lot higher than I remember. So how do I feel about that? Obviously not good. Obviously not good. On the one hand, it's kind of like probably gonna help like the mid-range brands, because it's like when you can get something that's like considered higher end for the same price, why wouldn't you? But that's kind of the downside too, because like some people can't afford that, and there should be like a low cost option for them, and it's just seeming like less and less these days. Less and less brands are offering something more low end of the price range. So what brands are guilty of this? I would say Milani is pretty expensive for drugstore. Physicians Formula has always been like a little bit more expensive than the rest of the drugstore, but they continue to be that way. I'm trying to think what else I saw that like shocked me being expensive. Those two stand out for sure. Even like, I want to say like hard candy bothers me because it's not that they're like super expensive, but like for the quality, like I feel like hard candy kind of sucks. And so like they're mid-range of the dollar or of the drugstore. Like if drugstore prices were on a spectrum, they're kind of like in the middle, I guess. But their quality is like not as good as other drugstore stuff. So I don't know. Take that for what you will. NYX is another one that I've seen kind of going up in price. Like I was on the NYX website the other day, and like they have palettes that are like $30, and it's like Canadian, and it's like for another $15 or something, I could almost get like a mid-range thing. Like I don't know, just $30 seems like a lot for a drugstore brand eyeshadow palette. Just my opinion. Okay. Number 9, with anti-consumerism and an eat the rich mentality starting to take hold in the YouTube beauty space, are there any brands you still feel a loyalty towards? If so, why? I don't really ever feel a loyalty to any brand. Like if I like it, I'm gonna buy it, and if they put out something I don't like, I'm just not gonna buy it. There's nothing I would be like, oh, I don't really, if that was any other brand, I wouldn't buy it, but it's this brand, so I'm going to. Like I don't really feel that way about any brand. It's just kind of like put out shit that I'm gonna like and I'll buy it. If you put out shit I'm not gonna like, I'm just not gonna buy it. So I guess I have no real brand loyalty. I don't know. Sorry, that's a boring answer, but okay, number 10. Have you ever felt betrayed by a brand? If so, what happened? All right, so this question kind of seems a little bit silly to me because like to feel personally betrayed by a makeup brand, it's like, I don't know, it just seems very first world problems-ish to me. Like it's makeup, who cares? And like, why are you getting personally affected by a brand? Like it's just, it seems like a weird question to me. No, so the answer is no. I don't think I've ever felt personally betrayed by a brand. There are some brands that do things that I don't appreciate, like the way the customer service handled my issues with my last Too Faced order was like kind of annoying, but at the same time, like I don't feel personally betrayed. I just feel like they could use better customer service. That's about it. That's kind of how I feel about most companies. Like they're not your friend, they're a company. They're there to make money, and anybody who feels otherwise about it is just lying to themselves. So yeah. Number 11, are there any brands you feel give off exclusivity vibes, making you feel like you aren't cool or pretty enough to buy from them? If so, which brand and why? The only reason why I would feel exclusivity vibes from a brand is more so for the price tag, not so much because I don't feel cool or pretty enough to buy from a brand. It's more so, yeah, if it's like out of my budget, then yeah, I feel like their target market is like somebody who's way more well off than me. So I guess maybe I feel too poor to shop from certain brands, but I definitely don't feel like not cool enough or pretty enough, because you don't have to be cool or pretty or whatever to buy makeup from any brand. Like you could be the most uncool, unpretty person in the world and you could still buy from any makeup brand. Like it's got nothing to do with that. So I find, again, that's a little bit of a weird question to me, because it's like a lot of these questions seem to imply that the brand is almost like a person, that is judging you, or a person that's betraying you or something. And it's like, this isn't a person here. This is a corporation. This is like a makeup company. Why are you getting so personally affected? But I don't know. Maybe I'm the weird one. I don't know. Number 12. What's worse, choice fatigue, i.e. exhaustion from too many makeup releases, or a lackluster quarterly launch from a brand you typically get excited about? I don't really get choice fatigue, I guess. So I mean, like I do in the sense that like obviously I can't buy everything and I'm not buying everything, obviously. But the more they release, the more chance of something that's really gonna like connect with me, and my style. So I don't really mind a lot of releases. I know a lot of people get really sick of it. It doesn't bother me at all. So that is going to be an obvious answer, that the worst of the two for me is the lackluster quarterly launch from a brand I'm normally excited about, because then it's like, well, I was really excited and I thought it was going to be something I really liked, and then it wasn't. Like that's way more disappointing to me than just having too many options. So yeah, a perfect example of this would be like the latest Too Faced palette that came out, the Natural Born This Way or whatever. I forget what it's even called, but it's like a neutral palette. And that, like, I usually love Too Faced palettes, and like whenever they release a new like tin packaging one, like I typically want to get it. And this one didn't come in the nice packaging, so that was disappointing. It didn't have a nice color story. Like it was neutral, and like I didn't like the way the pans were arranged, like with the big one and then the small one, and it was just straightforward and kind of, I don't know, it was just boring. It was just really, really boring for me. So that was a little disappointing, because I don't know, I was just hoping for something more interesting from them. So yeah, that was more disappointing, I think, than just having like a ton of releases. Okay, number 13. Have brand trips or sponsored videos ever made you actually interested in a product or beauty launch that the brand was promoting? No. That's a really easy question to answer. I didn't even know about brand trips and stuff like that until like the Shane Dawson documentary, when they were talking about Morgan going on that trip, that brand trip or whatever. I didn't even know those were a thing. So I don't know where I'd be, but I didn't know. And as far as sponsored videos, I guess maybe sponsored videos might sway me a little bit more, but I don't know. As much as any other video would. Like, if it's showing me a product and I like the product, then yeah, I guess it got me interested, but I don't think it has anything to do with whether or not it's sponsored. So, no. Number 14. Are there any indie brands you hope to see sold at Ulta or Sephora in the future? Lots. I mean, I would love to see, let me think of a good one that I would really like to see. Ooh, you know what's a good one? Nabla. And the reason I say that one in particular is because it is from Europe. So I basically feel like it's very inaccessible for me right now, being in Canada. Like, I haven't really looked into it too far, but I can just imagine in my mind that like a company like Nabla is going to charge me an arm and a leg to have anything shipped over here. And I love their palettes just really call to me. Like, I want them really bad, but I refuse to pay like double what I should in shipping just because it's coming from Europe. And I understand that that's necessary. Like, the shipping is the shipping. It's not like something the brand has control over, but I would love to see that come to like Sephora or something so I could get it at a lower shipping cost, basically. Because I would love to try that brand if it was more accessible. Okay. 14. Oh no, I just did 14. Sorry, 15. This is the last one. If you could give any beauty brand a rebranding, which brand would it be, and what elements of the brand would you modify? I feel like everyone's going to answer this with the obvious, which is Kat Von D, just because she's like completely ruined that brand. So I'm going to not say that one, just because I know everybody kind of agrees on that one. What would I give a rebrand to? Let me think here. Let me look at my collection again and consider it. Ooh, okay. I think maybe Physicians Formula, because everyone complains about their bulky packaging, and I don't know why they never listen to consumers about that, because I agree that the bulky packaging is like a turnoff. But also I feel like they could really like jazz up their packaging and make it a lot more interesting and like pretty and stuff. And even aside from the bulkiness, but just like aesthetically, like I have a few products from Physicians Formula, and like the packaging's not terrible, but it's not great. Like I think it would do better if it was more pretty. I don't know. And even the name is like, I mean, they have like brand recognition now, so I don't really suggest that they change their name. That would be like a bad idea, I think. But at the same time, like I don't like the name Physicians Formula. It makes makeup sound really like medical and like clinical sounding, and I get what they were going for, I guess, making it sound like clean and like good for you, I guess. But like Physicians Formula, it's hard to say. It doesn't sound cute. It doesn't sound like beautiful and like sleek and like, you know, trying to evoke vibes of like glamour or anything like that. It just sounds very basic, and like maybe that's what they were going for, but I feel like it would be nice to have like kind of a more dynamic name, logo, branding, like packaging, everything about it. I feel like that could be really cool, but that'll never happen. So yeah, so that was the last question. So let me know what you guys think about any of these questions. Like if there's one that you found particularly interesting, comment your answer below, because I'd love to know what you guys think about this. And then I will see you guys in the next video, which will be tomorrow, because I do upload every single day. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.